And that's our new intro. What do you think, Lionel?
It's certainly different from the old one, I'll tell you that.
A new intro for season 4. No more steel, pedal steel. No more country sounds. Just a big bass.
Nothing organic.
Nothing organic. Completely artificial. I love it. So this is Funny Not Funny, the podcast, and we are in our 4th season, and we have a guest who is joining us from Charlottesville.
That's the one.
Charlottesville. Yeah. That's Charlottesville, which is in Virginia.
That's right.
All right. Mr. Ellis Paul is joining us from Charlottesville, Virginia. And I'm really glad to have you in your home studio.
Yeah. This is the place where I do most of my work, both online and recording wise.
I've seen it. I've seen it in the your Wednesday night show, which is it the traveling medicine show?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It was called that because it was started during the pandemic, and a lot of the shows were focused on travel destinations because we couldn't go anywhere. So I do a show in Paris, I do a show in California, I do a show on, Yugoslavia, and then I'd sing songs from those places and about those places, and then it morphed into something else.
I mean, you've been on the road a lot. You and I sort of started traveling together, but then you kept doing it, and I did it sporadically. So the pandemic must have been a really different thing for you than it was for me. I kind of come to an office every day, and it's my office, and nobody else is here, but still, I go to an office building and I sit down and look at the same computer. Whereas you get in the car and go. And how did you make it through sitting at home all the time?
The internet helped. I mean, I did get out creatively through the interwebs. That helped a lot. But it was, I almost think that I would have crashed into some kind of wall at some point. But it was sort of the collective wall, the universal wall we all crashed into, and we all had to stop and reevaluate. And it felt like at first scary because financially scary and medically scary and health-wise scary and economically scary. But then after I got my feet underneath myself and started realizing I was going to survive it financially, it was like, wow, I really actually was in desperate need of standing still for a while. And it was great. It took me, a couple months of panic and then sort of, submission to standing still. But once I was there, I'm like, wow, now that things are starting up again, I'm like, how much do I really want to do this? And what's the value in it? And, when I can sit in front of my microphones and cameras and play to, thousands of people from home like this, like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And rather than going out and playing to 100 or 200 people a night, so yeah, I'm starting to try and regroup and figure out how to do it in the post-COVID era.
Yeah. Yeah. I found it surprising how much fun it could be to play in front of a screen. It still wasn't the same. When I finally did get out in front of people, we must have experienced the same thing. I mean, what was your first gig when you emerged?
Oh, I did a couple things, just little tiny folk venues that were starting to open up, but everyone was masking and 6 feet apart and the numbers were really low. Yeah. So it was kind of like playing on the moon. It just felt the same, but kind of different. Everyone was radioactive or something. Just keep your distance. But yeah, it's better now. I don't think the world has quite jumped all the way back. I don't know that they ever will. People keep on telling me that this is just treat this like the new norm. The numbers are still like 80% of what they were for me before COVID,
right,
as far as who shows up. And all that's fine. I think people are older. They've been beaten up. They're used to being inside. They've become professional scrollers in a sense. They don't need live music maybe the same way that they did before, but We'll see. We'll see. We're still on the arc of the aftermath, so I'm hoping for the best.
It's funny. I mean, I would have thought they would be hungry to see an actual human person again, but it's not everyone. Not everyone is like that, and a lot of people were really scared for a long time after, when the doors started opening and people started going out.
Yeah, I noticed that for some things that I did, like a vacation trip or something, because people had been really holding back for 2.5 years. So something like that, they were more willing to sacrifice themselves to that idea. But for shows, not as much, not as readily. Like, I put on a music retreat for songwriters, and there was a pent up demand for that.
Oh, wow.
And that so we oversold it when we opened it up again. But for the shows, I think they just know he's going to keep on touring. He's eventually going to come back, and they know that I'll be in their neighborhood. If I miss him this time, we'll catch him next time.
Where was your retreat this year? I mean, I know I saw it on the site, but I can't remember.
It's in Chester, Connecticut. It's a pretty great thing. We do 2 separate weekends to accommodate the overflow. And, we have Mark Aurelius coming in, Anja Duvacat's going to be there, Molly Venter from Red Molly, Laurie McAllister from Red Molly, Dan Byrne, great group of instructors. And, we have about 50, 60 students in each session. And, it's 4 very intensive days.
Oh, it's coming up. So it's still coming up.
Yeah, it's at the end of this month. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And we would tell people to go and sign up for it, but it's already oversold. But
well, the first one is still taking students. The first one oversold, and so we had to jump and add another one in. That's one still available. It's the New England Songwriters Retreat.
Okay. Yeah, and Chester's really nice. I've been through
pretty cool town. Yeah.
Yeah. Lionel is unusually silent, but I'm kind of I'm going to enjoy this because this is not usually the way things go.
He's pensive.
He is. I have a number of clips I'd love to play from your new album is called 55, and I saw you play a bunch of the stuff at Passim, or I imagined that I did.
Yeah, it was so nice to have you there. Thank you for coming by.
No, it was great. It was nice to be out. And I'm trying to think. So this is one that I'd love to play. This is I'd love the circus quality of this, and it's funny because it reminds me of this movie that my daughters love right now is The Greatest Show. Is it called The Greatest Show on Earth? It was, it's about P.T. Barnum. But yeah, this sort of, the middle part of this really, really reminded me of that. So this is called Tattooed Lady.
A likeness of Moses in a sea of roses, holding the staff up to the sky. And it's show time on the the circus freak. It's no crime to gaze at the spectacle of my physique. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, a spectacle for the eyes. The tattoo lady will light the fuse of the human cannonball. And the lights go down, and there's not a sound. It's just another crowd.
I mean, I don't know if I'm interpreting the song right, but it just captures the fun of spectacle. And tell me more. Tell me what you were thinking when you were writing it, and when you play it.
Well, during one of my retreats, it was an online retreat during COVID. I was assigning people circus characters in my class, and I got the tattoo lady. So that was my assignment, was this tattoo lady person. So I did the song, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then we, when you get in the studio, and you know this, Jim, sometimes you feel like there's not a full set of teeth. There's like a gap in the song selection. Like it needs something cohesive to hold everything together. And Of course, during COVID, the Beatles documentary came out, the Peter Jackson documentary, Get Back, and I was watching it many times. Like I probably saw the whole thing 3 times fully, and
it was like 26 hours long, wasn't it? I mean,
it was 8 hours long.
8 hours long.
Yeah,
okay.
and so that's 24 plus hours that I've spent with it, and so that section that you played is very Sgt. Peppery. With the voices and the crowd noise, and it felt like a nice homage to them. And I needed something up tempo. It's actually the one song on the record that sort of sticks out as maybe, what is this one doing here? But for me, it was very, very fun. And sometimes the studio, just being in the studio and being a chemist inside the studio and doing things you haven't done is fun enough. And so we put it on.
Who's playing drums?
Eric Kelly is playing drums. He plays with Bonnie Raitt and a bunch of other
great driving beat.
Oh, he's so good. Yeah. And he's like probably in his 70s. He's got sort of that younger brother of Ringo thing going on where he just knows how to orchestrate a drum part around a song rather than just play drums. It's the parts are indicative of somebody that knows how to support a song rather than to just drive it.
I like the album so much. It just feels like a summer album to me. When did it drop? We're not right on top of it, but
it's June 9th. So yeah, there's a lot of optimism. It does have kind of a summery feel because of that, I think.
Yeah, it's quiet, and there's a lot of it is very peaceful and kind of evocative. There's a number. I'm trying to think if this is the song. So The Gift, there's I think this one has the vocal part that I was really taken by. Anyway, this is The Gift.
She called me up from a coffee shop, the one at the Belmont stop. She said, it sounds like you could use a friend. I brought a gift for you. She put a ribbon on an ocean watch. I could hear the tick of a pocket watch. She said, all the time you need's in your hands. There was a matchbox to burn away all of the ghosts, and sage for the ones that haunt you the most, and a cocktail umbrella for a rainy day. And the bluebird's feather if you need to fly away.
I would definitely want to know who's singing, but also there is something in the way that is constructed that reminds me of some song that I listened to over and over and over again that I can't remember a while ago. The chords and the melody are evocative of Cat Stevens, but then the chorus is completely different. The chorus reminds me of somebody like, is it Bill Bourgeois? There was a guy named something Bourgeois. He had some chorus where the background singers are not syncing up and singing something completely different and fading in and fading out of the main vocal. And this just brought that back. But of course, I can't remember exactly what song it was. But I love it. So who's in the background?
That's Laurie McAllister, my girlfriend, and a great singer-songwriter herself. She's in Red Molly, an Americana band that's pretty well known. And Seth Gleer is also singing. Then there's me as well, singing in the background part as well as the lead. But I wanted to, have that layered thing where you're reacting. The chorus is sort of singing this idea, and then the lead vocalist singing the specifics of what's happening in the subset of the idea.
Yeah. I wish I could remember what this reminds me of, because it's not the kind of construction that you hear that often.
Not in these times, but you're right. Like in the early 70s, like My Sweet Lord kind of does that. Just sort of like a choir to one side, like to both sides, sort of a very separated stereo track of background singers, and then in the middle, the lead vocal lays in.
Right.
And a lot of people have been bringing up Cat Stevens for the first time in my life.
Really?
Yeah. So
I mean, it hit me in the face, like
really,
like in the first second.
Yeah, I mean, I was really aiming for the Beatles, but somehow I hit Cat Stevens. So at least I got it in the right country. I just ended with that guy. And so I guess my voice and some of the choices, I mean, obviously that era of music is super important to me. And I think my voice just over time has just kind of settled into that somewhat, warm and scratchy Cat Stevens vibe. I don't mind it. I love him, but after watching 26 Hours of the Beatles, you would hope that they would bring up maybe Paul McCartney once in a while.
Well, and it does. I mean, I guess the Beatles did it, but I think I'm thinking of something from the 90s, and I'm obviously I want to say something on 4AD, but I don't think it really was. Anyway, but yeah, I think it's the chords and the melody that are reminiscent of Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
It's definitely your voice. It's not that you're trying to sound like him. It's just, it has that really wonderful feel from the Teaser and the Firecat, which is one of the most amazingly produced albums ever. There's something, it's like an old sofa. It's just amazing.
You know what I really need is an animal nickname.
Well, let's get to work.
Maybe I could be Rat instead of Cat. Gerbil.
No, Rat's
Ellis,
not right.
No, there's just no way to win.
Loon Paul, I don't know. Something from Maine.
Marmoset.
Marmoset. Martin, of course. And that's kind of hard to know that's
Prairie Dog.
Prairie Dog, right.
No.
Marmot.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones still unclaimed. Cougar took the thing, the lower hanging fruit is gone.
All the charismatic megavertebrates are taken.
Most of the cat family is gone.
You're in the undergrowth now. You're dealing with the second tier of the furries.
Cats and
further down the food chain.
Further to badger.
Badger's not a good one. Yeah, that's anything with the word bad in it. Maybe not.
I was just in Maine, and that is your home state.
It is still in my heart.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, from where in Maine?
I grew up in Presque Isle, Maine, is what I call my hometown. It's up in Aroostook County, and but I was born in Fort Kent, which is at the very tippy top of Maine.
Yeah. Wow.
Canada.
Yeah.
What's your history up there, Lionel?
My mom's family is from Damerscott and Phippsburg.
Oh, nice.
The Bath area and stuff. I love Maine.
Yeah, I love Damerscott. I lived in Edgecombe, Maine, which is the town next to it for 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful area. I hope, when I really grow up that I'll be able to spend more time up there in the summer.
When you really grow up. Yeah.
Yeah, when I slow down enough to take a vacation,
I recommend it. Your state is beautiful.
What were you doing up? Just vacationing, or?
We've been staying with friends the past 12 summers. So my daughter has seen every birthday there.
Oh, great.
And we stay in this little fishing cabin right on a lake, and it's kind of secluded. It has a sandy beach and a dock, and it's incredible. And there were 9 loons on the lake, which from experience now, I know is unusual because usually there's 2. They sort of claim a lake, and they'll fight each other if there's like too many of them because they want all the fish, I guess. But then I had to look it up. A group of loons is called an asylum. Yes, very appropriate.
Nice. An asylum of loons.
An asylum of loons, right? Like a murder of crows.
Yeah.
Or an agony of writers.
Maybe we should form an animal name band.
Yes.
Asylum of loons.
Yes.
Right there.
What is a group of
flock of
songwriters?
seagulls?
Flock of loons.
Yeah. An asylum of loons.
A clump of plinths. That was actually a precursor to Monty Python. Some of the guys at Monty Python had like a show, and they called it a clump of plinths. So yeah, we could do this all day.
You guys, that's deep in the shadows of comedy.
I was once in Presque Isle, but I really only saw the university. I think I had a gig, and then we got to go and see it's a woman who was a sword fisherman, was part of. She was in the book The Perfect Storm, but she wasn't, the main character.
And she was living up there?
No, she was just traveling through and reading her new book.
Oh,
about fishing. But in The Perfect Storm, they radio to her boat. Apparently, this is a true story. And she radios back and is like, can't help you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Too dangerous for her to help.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah. But yeah, so we saw, when we were up there playing, we saw that she was speaking at the university. And so we may have been playing at the university. We went and saw her give a talk about her book, which was great. But I didn't really get to see, in your song, This Old Car, there's this great sequence about, kind of driving this old car out of a little town in Maine, the northern Maine, past the Grange and General Store. And, I didn't see that sort of Presque Isle is it's a modern city.
Well, yeah, I guess it's, when I was going to high school, there were 14,000 people who lived there. And now there's like 6,000 people. So it's
gotten smaller.
Yeah, it's shrinking as the entire county is. There's just a major brain drain going on there, and people are heading to southern Maine or out of state in order to make a living because it's tough. It's tough there financially, and and it's cold. It's very cold.
Yeah,
winters are rough.
Yeah,
I loved it though. Like the safest place in America to grow up. Really, it was. Right. And no one locks doors. There's very little crime, and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a magical state. It really is in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't have a clip that comes that lines up exactly with that. Damn it! I should have planned this better. But I do want to play. Sometimes Trouble is Good.
Okay.
Just a little piece of that off of the new album 55.
Lo and behold, look how the mighty fall. We laugh when they stumble, we cheer when they stand up tall. Which one you gonna be? Oh, how are you gonna claim your victory? If you're asking me, I say live for the day, inch by inch, step by step, laugh by laugh, and raise up a glass when the sky is falling, when trouble's calling. Touch the water to your lips and quench your thirst. Oh, you're not the first to fall to your knees. You gotta believe change is coming your way, just like it should.
A little bit of a longer clip there, just to capture the feeling of the song. And this one, I have to say, the meaning I can't grasp it. It doesn't seem to matter. Like it just feels great. Phrases come by. Look how the mighty fall, and put the cup to your lips to quench your thirst. Tell me more about, what's behind this for you. What were you thinking?
Well, it's when trouble comes into your life, it forces change into your life, and often for the better. Marriages going up in flames, getting fired from a job. It's that idea of one door closes and the floodgates open elsewhere. And so that's really what I was trying to drive at there. I wrote it with a guy named Will Chapman, who's a friend of mine up in Portland, Maine, and he was having some heart issues, but it was bringing all sorts of positive change into his life. And so, that's basically the essential thing, is like, don't always think that trouble isn't worth walking through, because on the other side there are also always, pieces of sunshine worth chasing after.
Well, that's a good message.
Well, the overall feeling I got from the album when I listened to it is it's inspirational. And I'm sort of new to your music, so forgive me if I'm saying something which is patently obvious to everybody else on the planet. But it's just the songs, just the consistent tone was inspirational. Was there's hope, keep moving, great things lie ahead. Is that typical, or is 55 different for you?
I think it's different overall. Just coming out of the pandemic, and most of the songs are written in this dark period, and I think I was looking for, the hope in it all, and that we'd get through to the other side. So, I think the consistency of the hope. Usually, it's for every hopeful song on past records, there would be a couple that would make you want to, set up a noose.
Well, I want to play the clip. Give into despair. The ship is going down. Wait, I'm sorry. That's not on this album.
I don't know. It might be. There's a couple of those. But overall, I think I was looking at it, and at some point I had to write a song to make sure that it was anchored in hope and anchored in the positive, because I felt like the balance was maybe getting skewed in a different direction. So,
I heard the one "Be the Flame." That's it's not necessarily hopeful, but just assertive and confident. Just be confident walking forward. So cool.
That I was writing for my daughter and my daughters, and trying to convince them that it's just we're going to get through it, and be positive, be strong, be your best.
It's a great service to your, to the people who listen to your music. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I generally can't do, but you are being very kind to your listeners, and that you're providing them with something. That they're going through shit, and you are, and you're processing that, and then delivering something that is like a way to get through it, like an attitude to have that will kind of push you through to the other side.
And I was thinking of writing. I always think about writing for myself, first of all, just trying to make my own sense of aesthetics and joy, get satisfied by what I'm writing about. And then the assumption is that, well, if I like it, somebody else will. And usually the people that already know my music can really appreciate it if they're, if they've taken a sip of the Kool-Aid, as they say.
I have to say the way the album is produced, it feels like a record. It feels like vinyl. There's a softness, a quality to it, and a sweetness to it that I haven't heard in a while. And I've been listening, of course, to, Dar's music and David Wilcox and other singer-songwriters, but this just feels like a needle on a record. And I'm not sure what you did, but that's really great.
That's
really cool.
A really beautiful compliment. Thank you. I think I agree with you, and I don't know how it happened, but maybe because I was producing it myself as well, that the choices were consistent from song to song to song, and it wasn't sort of let's build a song around a guitar player, acoustic player, and try not get in the way. It was like, let's create an ensemble of acoustic players and good sounds and create more of a band atmosphere rather than building around a solo singer-songwriter with an acoustic guitar.
Right. Yeah. And that was Lori on Sometimes Trouble Is Good also.
Yes, singing background. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. She has a great voice.
Was it the usual? I mean, in the studio with you, do you have a usual troupe of people that you work with in the studio, or does it change a lot?
I have some go-tos. It evolves a little bit over every record, depending on who's available, but mainly I'm in charge of the acoustic guitars and the vocal stuff and the arrangements,
right?
And but then Radoslav Lorkovich comes in and usually does piano parts, and I did quite a few piano parts imitating Radoslav's playing at home, and occasionally he probably played on like 6 or 7 of the songs. I probably played on 2 or 3. But occasionally I get credited for being Radoslav Lorkovich. So I know I came through and like was imitating him well enough to fool the people that were listening. So, but Eric Kelly was the first time for me playing drums, having him play drums. And Mark Dan, who was the engineer, played a lot of the electric stuff on it and the bass on it a lot. And so
is this are these people that you typically record with? I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's sort of the mainstay. And I think even I always picture myself doing 3 records, and this is the number 2 record of the trio. I did an album called The Storyteller's Suitcase just before the pandemic happened, and I'm going to do one more and produce it myself and use this core group of people and see if we can even develop the sound further. And then maybe I'll branch off and work with some other folks because I still have a lot to learn.
You need to fly to Iceland and work with Kurt and do something completely electronic.
Sure.
But yeah, I love that idea of a trio that you basically put together an ensemble. You're making 3 albums with the ensemble and then freshening it up, that's a fantastic way to do things.
Yeah, it's a learning curve because I've never produced myself until now, but I'm also 22 albums in, so I've got enough of a toolbox and an education in it that I'm and I know my sound better than anyone else. You know, occasionally when you're working with a producer, you'll do something fantastic that you could never come up with. But there's always a handful of songs that you walk away wishing that you could have them back and maybe do them in a way that was more suitable to what your sense of aesthetics are. And so there's only one person to blame here for the way the record came out, and that's me. So kind of like that in a way.
I think it came out great. My favorite track, of course, is I think The Darkest, but also it's somewhat dark. But yeah, I can't say exactly what it is. There's something about, reaching a certain age. It's the title track of the album, and it's just that phrase. It's that phrase, and I won't say it. It's in the clip.
On a dusty highway, I once rolled my car. I walked away without a scar. I spent countless nights playing smoky bars, dying to find myself a little trouble. Whiskey sour, whiskey neat, but one too many and you're obsolete. I was living the dream on a lucky street, nearly trapped like a ship in a bottle. And I'm 55, just trying to figure out how I'm still alive. Rand McNally and the fax machine, the milkman bringing home buttery cream, Sears and Roebuck magazine.
Yeah, so that drummer is channeling in some Lee Van. There's some band happening.
There's
the band is happening in this song. And maybe that it's really not that. It's that phrase, I'm 55 trying to figure out how I'm still alive. And that's just, that's fantastic. I love that.
Thank you. He was one of these people that I could say, play like X named drummer, play like this named drummer, and he would mock the parts, and then he would do fills of his own making. And but understanding that the language of, a great studio musician, they want to bring their own flavor, but they're always tapping into, the history and the chain of drummers that came before, and he's very, very good at that.
Great track. Great album.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Probably boring you to death because you talk about, when you release an album, you talk about it, and it probably is although they're your babies, so they're great.
I've listened to this thing, I'm at the point where talking about it is more refreshing than actually listening to it. I was listening to it a bit today with my kids, and I'm like, okay, I think I can walk away from this now. It's out, and I don't need to listen to it again and rip it apart in my brain. And I can, maybe give myself 6 months a year before I listen to it again.
Yeah.
Feels good.
So, Lionel, do you have anything else to say about the record, or?
No, I don't. I listened to it and it's great, but no, I don't have anything else.
I was wondering, we usually talk about books we're reading, and you mentioned a couple that you were looking at. Anything to say about kind of where your head is at from, literature way?
Yeah, I mean, I was reading this incredible book called TransAtlantic by Colum McCann, and
that's what you wrote the song. That's what you wrote the song about, right?
No, it's not about. It's about Ireland, but it's not about the book. No.
Okay, because I remember that tune really clearly. That was interesting. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Wait, which tune is that?
It's called Holy.
Yeah, Holy. Right. Yeah,
and Holy is about a guy that's he's dying to get to America, and he's got to get on a train. And everyone's saying, it's too dangerous. Don't waste your time. You're going to get hurt, or you're going to not be able to get. You can't get to America by a train. But then in the final verse, he ends up getting on. I make a reference to the biggest ship that man's ever made, and so he gets on the Titanic at the end of the song. And he should have been worried about the boat, not the train. Careful what you dream for. But in the aftermath of that, I was talking to somebody because of that song who was Irish, and he suggested I pick up this book, TransAtlantic, by Colum McCann, and it's sort of historical fiction. There are people, these women from 1800s, the 1900s, the mid 1900s, and all of their stories kind of lock in place with these fictional people in the background, including Frederick Douglass, who I guess went to Ireland at some point, and he's in this, and a woman meets him, and it's about her story and how she takes what she learned from him when she was a younger woman into America, and fantastic book. And I love Ireland. I love the history, and I wrote that song about Ireland, so I'm just enamored with it. So I'm trying to soak in as much Irish culture as I can.
You played there though, haven't you? That's actually a place that I never made it to, but
I'm playing. I'm going back in September for 10 days, so that should be nice.
What kind of venues do you get to play in Ireland?
Well, I lead a vacation group of about 30 of my fans, and we are in buses, a single bus, and we park at a really cool, historic bed and breakfast or a hotel, and then we make ventures out for a few days. And at night, either I will play, or we'll go to a session at a pub, or we'll have these incredible Irish musicians come in and play for us, including people like Luca Bloom and the best of the Irish trad players will come in and do a night for us while we're over there. And occasionally I'll sit in with them and just pretend like I'm strumming the guitar, trying to keep up. So yeah, that's a remarkable thing. I'm going to be playing in England, just doing shows before that. I've got 3 shows in the UK, in England, and then I jump over the water to Ireland and hang out there for 10 days.
That's such a creative way to put it together. That's wonderful. I mean,
yeah, these working vacations, they're pretty great. I get paid to be there, but I'm where I want to be, and because the trips are curated by other people, I'm seeing some incredible things that I would never find on my own, and seeing some incredible musicians.
The trips are curated by the participants, you mean?
No, there's a company that it's called Innisfree Tours, and they present American singer-songwriters over there, and use us as bait to bring 25 or 30 Americans over to Ireland, and they're really, really fun people to work with too, because they're all musicians. And it was a company started by somebody in the States, John Smith, who was a great folk singer, started the whole company and then sold it. but yeah, I do these vacation trips as part of one of my side incomes. As a musician, I'm juggling all sorts of balls.
Yeah.
And one of them is leading vacation trips to cool locales, so I can get a paid vacation every year somewhere.
Good.
That's
You mentioned
fantastic idea.
Yugoslavia.
That was a joke, but there is a Croatian tour that a friend of mine has started up using ships that float along the coast of on the Adriatic around Croatia, and I'm trying to line one of those up with him.
So you've never been?
I haven't. Radislav Lorkovic is from Croatia,
Got
and
it.
he's setting up these tour trips on little tiny boats. Not tiny, but they're still yachts. It's a skiff. He's got an accordion. Everyone's in lifeboat.
Don't lean over too far, okay? Just sit really still.
It's hard because he's squeezing, and the boat is rocking because he's squeezing. And yeah,
you see that bucket? Okay, yeah, bail.
So hopefully that'll be one of the trips in the future is Croatia, which is of course right next.
That's great. So Lionel, when I saw Ellis at Club Hasim, Radislav was playing keyboards. So it was just him and Radislav, and you two have been touring around together for a while. How long has that been?
Yeah, we met in the early aughts, and but this is the first year where I really committed to doing, an entire national tour with him. Any place I can. He plays with Asleep at the Wheel, which is a really great swing band, country swing band, Texas country swing band, and so whenever he's not on the road, he's generally on the road with me, with them.
Yeah. Hardworking man.
Yeah.
So say the name of the book again and the author's name.
Yeah, it's TransAtlantic. It's by Colum McCann.
Cool.
Yeah, you reminded me of something I read recently. Musicians talking about books. I was looking at the Wikipedia page for one of the bands that I really like, and it was one of these gems that they took inspiration from books that one of the members had taken with him on tour, which was 120 Days of Sodom by the Marquis de Sade, The House at Pooh Corner by A.A. Milne, and Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. Wow. I can't imagine three. Yeah, that pretty much covers every single base. Those three books. That's it. You can put that on the satellite and shoot it towards interstellar space, because that's everything the human condition. Yeah, the human condition in 3 books.
That could be your desert island library.
Ooh. Right. Any other books you're reading?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Let me just see what's in. Hold on, hold on there. I got my bathroom books. Not that I'm a sports fan, so I have this book about a distance runner named Craig Virgin.
Oh yeah,
Virgin territory.
Yeah, he was one of my heroes when I was in high school, when I was running, and I got to meet him. He came to a show of mine in Missouri, which was a real thrill for me. But he was world cross country champion back in 80 and 81. He was the best cross country runner in the world, and he had the national high school record for 2 miles. And this is basically a race by race synopsis of his entire career.
Oh,
so for somebody that's like a stat geek, running is my sport, so I treat it like most people who are big baseball fans treat baseball stats. They have them memorized, and so that's sort of my go-to book wherever I need to escape for 15 minutes before I fall asleep.
Right.
Grab that one.
Yeah.
And you were a star runner at BC, right? I mean, they at least on the Wikipedia page they talk about that you're still in the stats.
I'm still in the top 10 over there.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's amazing. What's really awesome is how slow I am now. It's so hard.
I knew this about you actually when we were in a group called End Construction Productions, and I had known that you had stopped running because of a knee injury, but I didn't know that at least the story on the Wikipedia is that was when you picked up a guitar. Is that? Or you'd maybe already picked it up, but that was when you kind of decided, well, I'll do this.
Well, I thought I had so much time, and as you know, like there's something just great about holding an acoustic instrument that is that big against your body and such close proximity to it. There's something very healing about playing guitar and beautiful about playing guitar, and for some reason I got sucked in. I had a lot of time on my hands, I guess. I certainly wasn't studying.
I was thinking.
You know, you have kids, so you know. My daughters, especially my youngest daughter, is so smart, and she can get away with doing next to nothing and get decent grades.
Mm-hmm.
And if she applied herself, I'm sure she would be a straight A student. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but somehow, I was saying somehow I managed to graduate college and not work too hard. And here I am talking about this on a podcast that I hope she never hears.
Right.
But I spend so much of my time during the day trying to convince herself what a difference putting some effort will be.
Right. Study hard so you don't end up a touring musician playing in Ireland.
Right. You don't want to, I can't tell her how lazy I was because I was just as bad as she was.
Yeah. You don't want to have to be on your own cruise with a bunch of people who adore you. Yeah. This is a nightmare. Don't do what I did.
Yeah. I'm worried about them, but they're growing up in a very different world. They'll find their way somehow.
Yeah. I had another thought too, and it was true of me through high school. I always had a guitar in my lap when I was doing homework, and my dad would kind of check in on me, and he would say, like, I don't know, every time I looked at you, you were playing guitar. You weren't really working, but you somehow got through school. I'm not sure how you did that.
Yeah. My parents thought it was a hobby until I was about 26, and then my dad did his best to shut it down.
Shut it down?
Yeah. He told me to stop. He said that I can't do this. I'm not going to make a living at it. And
when you're 26?
Yeah.
He's a little late to the I mean,
exactly.
Was he like waiting for the perfect moment to broach the topic?
I think he was waiting for me to burn it off. Like it was some kind of a virus or something that was just I'd eventually figure out that I wasn't going anywhere. But by the time I was 26, he was afraid I might waste another 4 or 5 years doing it. And he just wanted to make it known that he didn't approve.
What did he want you to do? I mean, he was the director of...
Yeah, he was a potato specialist and he worked in the Maine potato industry. So he's a farmer's kid and practical and, and he did well for where he came from. And, but he didn't, he was very conservative. He was a Republican. And I was, to him, a hippie liberal college kid with, liberal ideas and doing liberal things and singing songs that he didn't get. And, but it wasn't really about me. It was about him. And by the time I was in my early 30s, I was making as much money or more money than he did. And then he kind of turned around and started.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So it wasn't it wasn't a permanent source of bitterness.
No, just about 4 or 5 years worth of
4 or 5 years of bile.
It's rough. It's rough.
And then I remember in the last decade of his life, he came out to a show and he and I would sing like a duet. I remember one night he stood up in the crowd and we sang Good Night, Irene together. And it was sweet.
Oh, that's great.
That is great.
Yeah. Wouldn't it suck if he had just passed away in that 5-year period?
This is a good
we were
story.
barely speaking. Yeah. Thank God. So mend fences, say forgivenesses, and move on because you never know when your moment is called.
I did have one question. So I know nothing about running.
Yeah.
And you're into it. Has running changed? I remember when I was a kid, it was like Gym Fix, running. And it was really big at one point. Like running was a big, big deal. And people were really, really into running and jogging and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How is it still that way or has the world changed or what do you sense?
It's cool. This is so much a show and tell day. Can you just give me 3 seconds? I'm just going to grab.
Go ahead. Does he know it's not a visual podcast?
Oh yeah.
Right.
No, I told him. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell him.
It would be great if it was. I just got this in the mail today, and this is
a
pair of Hokas.
Those are the snaz.
Yeah, and these shoes. There's a new invention that happened about 5 years ago that has a carbon cushion on the inside that absorbs a higher percentage of the impact of your body weight on.
Are these the super shoes that I've been hearing about?
Yeah, this is them. I'm holding one.
Oh, wow.
And these used to go for about $300, and now they're about $140, $150. This is it's called a Hoka Carbon X3.
Okay.
And because of it, the world records in all of the distance races from about the mile on up are dramatically lower now.
Wow.
This has changed efficiency of running by 5%. So the world records are tumbling in the marathon and the half marathon and in the 5K and the 10K. It's totally revolutionary. Sort of like the same way that those swimsuits were. Yeah, Olympics ago, people were wearing bodysuits while they were swimming because it cut through technology, cut through the water faster than water.
But how does that work on a shoe though? How is the shoe? I can understand a suit reduces your hydraulic drag, right?
Yeah,
you're slipping through the water because you're presenting less. But how does a shoe help you run better?
Well, because it conserves energy when the shoe takes the majority of the impact weight.
Okay.
So instead of your body absorbing that energy of 200 pounds hitting the pavement, with these shoes, it's hitting significantly less. So your energy isn't taken up by the impact. And you're also less likely to get injured in these shoes because your body's, so you can train harder and farther and faster. And they saved, these things have kind of saved my life in a way because I was constantly getting hurt just jogging.
No, that's a problem with running. Yeah. And, I have the civilian version of the Hoka, and they're amazing.
Yeah, they're great walking shoes. They're great jogging shoes, and these are professional level shoes. I shouldn't own them, but
they're incredibly light.
They are. They're like
much
clouds.
lighter than other shoes.
Yeah, and they embarrass your children when you wear them in public.
Yeah. That's right. Because he's holding up the shoe. Nobody can see because it's an audio podcast, but it's orange and light blue. It's a 2-color shoe with 2 very bright.
Yeah, it's not
colors.
Shy. It's not a shy shoe.
In fact, I would call them fly, but my daughters would not. They will not walk around Target with me if I'm wearing those.
I've been wearing Birkenstocks all summer. I think I even mentioned it in the previous podcast. And I thought I was embarrassing my kids, with my open toes. But no, my oldest daughter actually wants a pair now. So I'm a trendsetter for my children, which will not last.
Did you see the Barbie film?
I have not seen it yet.
I have. I took my daughters to it.
Oh, I love that thing with the Birkenstock. Are you going to take the Birkenstock? You can take a high. Look, I'm just joking. It's not a choice. You're going to take the Birkenstock. I'm just holding this. Oh, it's a great scene. It's almost like the scene from The Matrix, but they totally deconstruct. It's like the red pill, blue pill thing. And then the lady says, no, really, seriously, you're going to take the Birken. I'm just holding up the other thing just for the hell of it, but you're going to take the Birkenstock. It's not a choice.
One was a high heel and one was a Birkenstock. Yeah, very, very.
So, so with running, so there's like 1 mile and 2 mile. I mean, how's it broke? I mean, there's like distance running, right? Which is like you're not running flat out as fast as you can.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's part of the deal. You have to be really good at judging how much you can push yourself.
Yeah, knowing your body in that way, but training is, the thing that makes you in tune with what you can do as far as, exude energy and burn energy during the course of a race and how fast you can go. And for me, being this old and being this fat, I just want to get out there for a half an hour and not get hurt. And it's a great form of exercise when you do it properly and I'm trying to just be as safe and so I can not get hurt.
And is it a good community? Are you in a good place for jogging? Is it a good place to jog around?
Yeah, I live right at the base of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'm just outside of Charlottesville in a little four-stop corner town called Crozet, Virginia, and beautiful trails and vineyards and breweries and horse farms. It's gorgeous, really picturesque place to ride bikes and to run. So yeah,
that's great. That sounds wonderful.
Where are you, Lionel? Are you in?
Today I'm in San Antonio, Texas, but I am shortly, a week from today, I'll be loading a moving van and moving to Syracuse, New York.
Oh, all right. Wow. From where?
San Antonio, Texas. Wow. From San Antonio to Syracuse. And as I mentioned to Jim, that's why I asked you about the immediate environment, because and it's really nice. Like here in San Antonio is a great city. I love it. It's a fabulous city.
The river walk there is great.
It is. It's a tourist trap, but it's one of those tourist traps that delivers.
Yeah.
It's a tourist trap, but it's really absolutely worth the visit. It's a beautiful, magical place. But I live I live way out in the west. My house is out in the way out west, which is, it is strip development. It's like they took a great all and they stripped like 100 gazillion acres of every single tree and weed and then planted houses on it. And it's brutally hot. So there's no inspiration to like walk out your door at all, unless you're going to hop in your car and go somewhere. And the thing that really excited me about Syracuse when I'm up there is that the trees are huge and it's beautiful.
It's so green there.
It's so green, and there's lakes, and so it's great. It must be, I'm very excited about getting back a place where I can walk out my door and walk around. So that's why I was asking about your immediate neighborhood. Is it a good place for you to do your runs and things like that? It sounds like it is.
It is. I wish I could tell you that there wasn't development going on here, but it's pretty rampant as well. Even though it's I wish it wasn't as much as it is, but it is.
Is it becoming kind of a hot place to move to?
It is, yeah. A lot of people from the Northeast are coming down because the temperature is moderate, and Charlottesville itself is a pretty open-minded liberal college town. So you get, you have a decent balance between conservatives and liberals, but not a lot of infighting. The occasional, Ku Klux Klan rally.
Yeah, just a few Nazis here and there every once, but very
most
seldom.
Most of those are out-of-towners.
Very seldom.
Yeah.
Lionel, it just occurs to me, you are the wily Odysseus returning home.
I am. After 10
Syracuse,
years.
Yeah. Someone's going to tell you to move your bed, and you're going to say, "What the hell are you talking about?" And that's going to give you away.
I'm going to shoot some arrows at people. No, it's great. It's just great. It feels really good. A change of pace, and there's like a park like 2 blocks from my house. It's lovely, like with a little wetland in it and stuff like that. So I'm just very excited. So I talk to people about what's their immediate environs and what do you do to walk around. Because where I live now, you really can't. Everything has to be done by a car, and everything is half an hour away. So, so that'll be fun. Yeah, a week from now, I'll be loading up the truck and heading off to Syracuse, New York.
Good luck with the move. That is a haul.
It is. I'm really stressing, because I don't want to leave anything behind, and I don't want to drive like an enormous truck. So I'm picking a 15-footer. I'm hoping I'm going to fit everything inside the 15-footer.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But this is there'll be an update in a couple of weeks, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, you'll hear about it on Funny Not Funny, the podcast. Ellis, are you when you go out running? Could you actually run up into the mountains, or is that's still in the distance? Or
no, I could. The base of the mountains are within like a half mile of me, so I don't choose to go that way. Right. I choose to stay where it's flat and safe. But yeah, the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is a famous sort of national park drive, is within shouting distance of me here.
I almost threw up on it.
Did you really?
I did.
Walking? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. David Wilcox put me on the back of his motorcycle. And I had not really experienced that before. And anyway, I almost filled the helmet. And and he reminds me of it whenever I see him, actually.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
Well, I want to thank you. It's been an hour, and I don't want to hold you up. And
so nice to sit and chat casually like this with you guys.
That's kind of we've sort of settled into the actual, this last part has been kind of more like just talking.
Yeah,
which is nice.
I love it. I enjoyed it. Thank you, and thanks for focusing on the record, Jim. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. I mean, of course. I mean, I know how it feels when you release these things. It's like, aside from kids, it's like really big deal. It's a really big deal. And it's hard to communicate how that feels to people who don't also release these things. So of course, yeah.
I have a cat that I'm babysitting.
Oh.
This is, come here, Nipsey. This is Nipsey Russell.
Oh, wow, beautiful. That's a Burmese or a Siamese?
No, I think it's Burmese. And he is a doll. He is such a great cat.
Oh, wow.
It's not ours. We certainly didn't name him, but we love him.
Nipsey Russell.
Yeah. Well, great to hang out with you guys. Yep. Sorry for my tardiness. I was.
That's fine. We're just hanging. Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Funny Not Funny podcast is produced by me, Jim Infantino. This clip from the album Utopia Revisited. We are found wherever podcasts are found. Visit our website at funnynotfunny.bigego.com. Please tell your friends and leave a rating or review.